For the starting wrapper provided in the resources of this video, this is the password generator project. In here, you have letters, numbers, and symbols already provided for you. And below, we are just asking the user for the number of letters that they want in their password, for the number of symbols that they want in their password, and the number of numbers that they want in their password. And the symbols are just the common symbols that are mostly accepted in all of the websites. This challenge has two levels. The first one is the easy level where the password does not have to be in random order. So if the user asks for 4 letters, 2 symbols and 2 numbers, it will be in the same order. So 4 random letters, 2 random symbols and 2 random numbers. But the hard level is where you have to perform some googling and randomize the order of the password. So as you can see, we have a letter, then a symbol, a number, 2 more letters, so on and so forth. So the order is completely randomized. I would recommend that you first try the easy level and then after that try to tackle the hard level. So pause the video and complete this coding exercise. Okay, so first I'm going to try to solve the easy level. So what we can do is first we will select random numbers from our list of random numbers which contains the letters from A to Z in lowercase and capital. So I will create the password which is going to be our variable for the final password. Then what we can do is we can create a for loop. So for I in the range of 0 and the number of letters that the user chooses plus 1. This will run as many times as the user chooses letters. So if the user chooses to have 5 letters in their password, this will run 5 times. And then what we can do is we can select a random letter from the letters list and then add that to our password. So what you can do is you can generate a random number, but if you actually go to Google and search how to select a random element from a list in Python, and as you can see we get a link of Geeks for Geeks, which is a website. In here you can see that they are using the choice function. So what the choice function does is it takes a list, which in here they have a test list, and it returns a random element of that list, for example 5. So we can do the same thing in our Python password generator. So let's go back, and what we can do is we can create a variable called random letter, and then inside that we use the random.choice and provide our letters list, which is this list, and I will just run this and print out all of the letters. So if I run the code, it asks me for the letters. Let's give something like 5 letters, and I will just provide random numbers for these. As you can see, it gave me 5 random letters like E, W, V, E, Z and U. So 2 of these were lowercase letters and 3 of them were uppercase. So this seems to work completely fine. Now what we can do is we can just add those random letters to our password variable. So I will add the random letter inside the password variable, and then I will just print out the password right over here. Now if I run the code and provide, let's say, 6 letters and then random values for these, as you can see it gave me 6 random letters. Now we can shorten this code even more by just having this piece of code right over here and remove this variable. So this will perform the same thing. Now that we are generating the random letters, let's do the same for the number of symbols and numbers. So as you can see, I performed the same thing for the symbols and the number of numbers. So now if I run the code, let's say I want 5 letters, 2 symbols and 2 numbers. As you can see, it gave me 5 letters, and you might be able to notice that instead of giving me 2 symbols, it gave me 3 symbols and 3 numbers. So why is this happening? If I look back into the code, we are actually going from 0 to the number of letters plus 1. We are doing the same for the symbols and the numbers. And what we have to do instead is we have to go from 1 to the number of symbols and the number of numbers. That's why we are having this issue. So if I fix that right over here, and then if I run the code again with the same arguments, as you can see, it now gave me 5 letters, 2 symbols and 2 numbers. So we have successfully completed the easy level. Now let's try to solve the hard level. So I will select all of this and copy it, comment it out, and then paste it down in the hard level. And what we have to do in the hard level is, instead of creating a password variable, we have to create a password list and then provide a list inside. Now I just have to update each of these as well to the password list, and you can keep the plus equals to the same. Usually you are more used to looking at the dot append method where you just append the value, but this plus equals will just do the same thing, so it works completely fine. You can leave it. Now if I run the code and we check this, as you can see, it gave us a list. So let's search how to shuffle a list in Python. As you can see, we get the first link of W3 schools, and if we click on that link, they are using the shuffle method. So they have a list of fruits and they are using the random module and then the shuffle function inside the random module, and when you provide the list, it shuffles the list up. So let's try this. So what I will do is I will first print out the normal password, and then below here I will use random.shuffle and shuffle up our password list and then print it out again. Now if I run the code and I provide the same values, as you can see, this is our list which is in order. So you have the letters first, then the symbols, and then the numbers. But when we use the shuffle method from the random module, as you can see, it shuffles them up. So we first have a letter, then a symbol, then number, so on and so forth. So now all we have to do is we have to convert our final list into a string. So I will remove the print statements, and below here we can use another for loop. So for n, and I will loop through our password list, and what we are going to do is we will create a new variable called the password, and each time that this loops, we will just append each of these letters inside our password variable. So password plus equals n. So it will loop through each of the elements inside the password list. Let's say the first one is G, then plus, then 6, then U, and each of the time that it loops through, it will just add that letter to our password list. And then at the end, we will just print out to the user, your password is, and then the final password, like so. Now if I run the code, and let's say I want a password containing 10 letters, 4 symbols and 3 numbers. As you can see, it generated a completely random password, which is almost impossible for any hacker to be able to crack, no matter how talented they are. So this was the final challenge of this section. If you were not able to complete this challenge, then I would recommend that you go back and review each of the lessons inside this section and then come back to this final challenge and perform both of the levels on your own. I will see you in the next section.